Seattle's Morning News. Dave Ross with Colleen O'Brien and Chris Sullivan. And Hanna Scott's on this call, too, because we have dialed up Matthew Metz of Coltura. And explain what Coltura is, first of all, Matthew.
Coltura is an organization working for a gasoline-free America by 2040.
And so that means no gas cars.
Well, as few as possible.
Okay. The idea, of course, is to prevent global warming, make us all healthier. But, of course, there's considerable controversy because most of us have gas cars. So how would this work exactly?
Okay, so what the bill does is that it says that you can't buy a 2032 gas car, for example, and register it in Washington.
Now, we've heard that General Motors is now planning to phase out all gasoline engines, so I guess that's a big deal. But if that does not happen, doesn't that leave a lot of people in the lurch?
Well, not really, because electric vehicles will be available in pretty much every single model type. And so people will be able to drive whatever kind of car that they want. It just will be electric rather than gas.
You're sure of this? Because this is what worries people when you pass a piece of legislation that's got a date certain for something uncertain to happen. They feel insecure about that.
Yeah, but, pretty much this is the way the world's going. Most of Europe now has similar policies. For example, in the United Kingdom, by 2030, it's the exact same thing. You're not going to be able to register a new model year 2030 gas car in England anymore either.
Hi, Matthew. Hanna Scott here. I wanted to ask you, it looks like you had some polling done in the last couple of months that suggests there's a lot of support for this in our state.
Yeah, so it was 59% of people in favor versus 35% opposed. And among Republicans, it was very close. I think it was 49% opposed to 46% in favor. So it actually has fairly strong bipartisan appeal. Independents, I think, don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was about like 55-45 among independents.
So, Matthew, why is it that people haven't put their money where their mouth is? If 60% of the people want an electric car, yet only 4% of our cars being sold in our state are electric. So how do you reconcile those two numbers?
First of all, we're looking at 2030 and not 2020. So by 2030, there will be a lot more electric cars available. There will be a lot more public knowledge about the cars. There will be more charging available everywhere. So it'll be an easier experience. But I think actually one of the biggest problems is just lack of understanding and knowledge about electric cars. And I think in other countries, and in California right now, they're up to about 10%. So, the momentum is gaining, and it's just a lot of it has to do with consumer education.
How are we doing on price? I know one of the reasons why a lot of people don't get in is the average price on electric is $20,000 more than an average non. Now, you can get in on a Leaf, around 30, which I get, and I know the price will come down, but in 9 years, do you think it's going to come down enough that an average person can afford an electric car?
Yeah, so a lot of people have looked at this question, including investment banks, and JP Morgan just came out with a study. They say by 2024, the sticker price of a gas car is going to be the same as for an electric car. So and it may even get a little bit cheaper as we go forward. So the battery prices are coming down a lot, and so that's driving everything towards parity.
So $20,000 you think will come down in 4 years? That's pretty.
Yeah. So I got a kind of a bone to pick with that statistic, and I think where that number comes from is that since most of the cars being sold right now are Teslas, I think almost 70-75% electric cars that are being sold in the U.S. are Teslas. And that's kind of an upmarket, luxury car, and so that started driving the curve upward. But if you compare sort of apples to apples, which would be, let's say, a Chevy Bolt and
a Nissan Leaf or
like a Honda Civic or something like that, it's going to be more like $4,000, $5,000.
So we're talking 30, 38, somewhere in that figure, a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy a Chevy Bolt now, like without even a federal tax credit, for about like 30, 31, 32, somewhere in there.
So give me your guess. Do you expect something to pass this year?
Well, we're trying our best. I mean, I think so, but there's always things that come in from the side. So I'm not going to make any predictions, but I do think you're going to see like a really strong push.
And if it doesn't pass, would you run an initiative?
That's interesting. We haven't looked at that yet. It's very expensive to run an initiative, but I actually believe in working through the legislature. I think there's something about that process that's healthy, that brings a lot of people together, that does that. So that's our first option, is just to try to work with the legislator and get it done. We have a lot of good legislators in Olympia, so hopefully we can find a way to work with them.
Matthew Metz, the founder of Coltura, who's looking to electrify your commute over the next 9 years. Matthew, thank you.